Greetings, loved ones. Today we're going to define financial and economic abuse and its signs. Help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You never know, just by doing so, you could save a life. When we talk about domestic violence, we always think about physical abuse and sometimes psychological abuse. But there are officially 4 forms of domestic violence. There's physical, psychological, sexual, and economic financial abuse. And recently there have been other forms unofficially added that include stalking and social media or cyber stalking. But today I want to talk to you specifically about economic abuse, also known as financial abuse. Part of the aspect of domestic abusers includes controlling the money, the titles, the deeds, passports, etc. The victim feels like they cannot leave because they have no financial means to leave or to support themselves, and maybe also their children should they decide to exit the abusive relationship. Hopefully today I can give you some clear information that can not only help you recognize economic abuse, but also how you can protect yourself from it if your partner is controlling, and how you can exit the relationship should you need to for your safety. So let's begin our discussion on economic abuse by defining what it is. I found some great information on the website womanslaw.org. I recommend you look at that site, womanslaw.org. So what is financial abuse, and what are the signs to look out for? Financial abuse, of course, is one of the forms of domestic violence, like withholding money, stealing money, restricting the use of finances. These are some examples of financial abuse. To figure out if your partner is financially abusing you, think about how you are being treated by answering the following questions. Does your partner steal money from you or your family? Does your partner force you to give him or her access to your bank accounts to make transactions without your input? Does your partner make you feel as though you don't have a right to know any details about money or household resources? Does your partner put on an allowance even if you object to this? Does your partner force you to account for all the money you spend, for example, by asking for receipts? Does your partner overuse your credit cards or refuse to pay the bills, thus ruining your credit? Does your partner prevent you from working or attending school or skill training sessions? Does your partner withhold physical resources from you, including food, clothes, necessary medications, or shelter? Does your partner force you to turn over your paychecks or public benefit payments? Does your partner force you to cash in, sell, or sign over any financial assets you own, for example, bonds, stock, or property? Does your partner force you to agree to power of attorney so they can sign legal documents? Does your partner force you to work in a family business for little or no pay? Does your partner prevent you from obtaining or using credit cards or bank cards? Does your partner refuse to work to help support the family? Does your partner interfere with your performance at work by calling you nonstop, visiting your workplace unannounced, etc.? Does your partner threaten to falsely report you for cheating on your public benefits so they will be cut off? Does your partner force you to cash in, sell, or sign over any financial asset or inheritance you own? Does your partner force you to agree to a power of attorney that would enable your partner to legally sign documents without your knowledge or consent? If you have answered yes to more than one of these questions, your partner might be financially abusing you. Where there is financial abuse, there may also likely be other forms of abuse in your relationship, and the opposite is true. If you are suffering physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, most likely you are also suffering economic abuse. So the abuser has access to all your financial and identity information. What do you do? If the aggressor has access to your credit card statement, social security number, or other identifying information, This can make it easier for them to open accounts in your name and access current accounts. If they have your children's social security numbers, they can even try to open accounts in your children's names. So you might want to consider taking proactive measures to keep your personal information safe. Some actions you can take are to call your bank and credit card companies and ask that they change your numbers, your PIN, your passwords, and other access codes. Try to create passwords that would be hard for someone to guess. If you access your bank account through your personal computer or cell phone, or if you store your financial information on your personal computer or cell phone, make sure you're using a safe computer or cell phone that the abuser cannot access and has not installed spyware on. If appropriate and possible, you may want to consider enrolling in a reputable credit protection program through your current credit card company or bank, although that may cost money. Here's a point. The abuser has asked you to co-sign a loan or credit card. Is that a good idea? Generally, it is not a good idea to co-sign any financial contracts, including credit cards or a car loan, with someone you do not trust completely to be honest and responsible about paying it off. If something happens, such as that the other person disappears or refuses to make payments, you can be held responsible for paying off the entire debt, and your credit can be ruined if you don't make timely payments. I'm going to insert something here. In my first relationship, my spouse ran up, in my first marriage, ran up all of my credit cards, didn't help pay for anything in the family, and left me with so much debt. It was horrible. So if you've already co-signed on a loan or a credit card and the other person has failed to make payments, go after the abuser has taken your money and run up debt in your name with the help of a lawyer. So the question is, how do you dispute charges on your credit card that you did not authorize? You can contact your credit card company directly and let them know about specific charges that you did not authorize. Some credit card agreements state that you are not responsible for any charges you did not authorize, and they will remove those charges from your account. Generally, however, before they do this, you will need to speak to someone in their security department who looks into cases of fraud. You might also need to file a police report first about the charges. Ask your credit card company. So here's another question. After the abuser has taken your money and run up debt in your name, what do you do? If someone has opened up accounts in your name without your permission, is this identity theft? If anyone, including a spouse, a family member, an intimate partner, uses your personal information to open up an account in your name without your permission, this can be considered identity theft. Some examples of personal information that someone might use are your social security number, your credit card and banking account numbers, usernames and passwords, and your patient records at the doctors. Fraudulent uses of this information may include opening new credit accounts, taking out loans, stealing money from financial accounts, or using available credit. Each state law defines identity theft differently. The National Conference of State Legislatures lists the statutory citation for identity theft laws in each state. However, to read the actual language of the law, you'd have to Google the statutory citation for your state. If you have been a victim of identity theft, the Identity Theft Resource Center, you can Google that, Identity Theft Resource Center, may have helpful information. So, financial matters. When you're leaving an abusive relationship, what are some financial protections that you can take if you're getting ready to leave an abusive relationship? If you are trying to leave, it can be important to take your personal and financial records with you. Either copies or the originals if it's safe to take those. Some things you might want to keep a copy of include birth certificates, social security cards for your entire family, all of your children, insurance cards for your whole family, copies of your checking account, savings account, and credit card numbers, copies of any stock or mutual fund records, loan and mortgage information, your most recent credit report, and your tax returns for the past 2 years, your car title, the deed to your house or your rental lease, retirement plan statements, and photos of your family's most valuable assets. For example, nice cars, expensive jewelry, anything you think is worth a fair amount of money. If you may be going through a divorce or child support case, you may also want to try to take copies of the following: how much the abuser earns, including salary, bonuses, money she or he gets from any rental properties which may be in the prior year's tax return, how much money is in all of the accounts, savings, checking, investments, retirement accounts, and how much money is owed on credit cards, the mortgage, the car, etc. These are all examples of financial abuse and how you can get out of the situation of identity theft. So with 1 in 3 women experiencing domestic violence worldwide, and even more children witnessing violence, the question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. And those who suffer violence, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will step out and reach out to them to give them the help and the courage they need to leave before it is too late. Help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell. And please share these messages with others. You never know, just by doing so, you could save a life. If you are a victim of violence, please listen to me now. I want you to tell you the truth. You've been told lies for long enough. And the truth is, you are valued. You are loved. You are intelligent. And you are beautiful, and God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. There is a way out. It's not your fault, and abuse is not love. If you're a victim of violence, please reach out to somebody today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, dial 911. And if you know of a child suffering violence, tell the authorities. Tomorrow we're going to ask the question, are you a victim of financial and economic abuse? Until then, God bless you.